Welcome to the Black News Network, the real voice of Black USA, bringing you the news from a Black perspective. Today, our co host, as you already know, our friends the most, and one of our most well knowledgeable person in the community, and a community activist to all, Mr. Claude Foster. Thank you for being here. Let's see if I can get this thing working. Wait, here we go. Claude, are you there? It brought you up, but it disappeared your picture. I wonder what happened. All right, we're waiting for Claude to come up. He's here. You know, both of us are military veterans. Both of us retired military, and we went through over a 20-year career. And because we went through that 20-year career, we pick up some things and we lose some things. Military is a great way to start, and that's one of the biggest things we got to talk about. Is basically that it is a great place to start. I don't deny that one of the biggest reasons I joined the military was I wasn't sure it was enough job opportunities available in my home sector. I don't think that I wanted to go to college at the time when I finished high school. I did not want to go straight into college, but I did not want to be a burden on anybody because I know I had to work. I knew I had to get up out of there or go get a job and doing some of the things I didn't want to do. So I ended up joining the military at 17, got my mother's consent, and I stayed for 20 years. 20, actually 21 years. Being in the military ain't something for the light person. You have to really have something that you can fall back on. You gotta have. I mean, the military can drive you plumb damn crazy. I'm basically just laying it out there. It can drive you plumb damn crazy. You know, I went through some really, really rough times and some really, really decent times too now. So don't get me wrong. It wasn't all bad. It was really I would probably do it again because I really enjoyed my time in the service. serving the country. I focused on what happens when you finish that military career. I didn't really want to talk about going through what happened while I was on active duty and that kind of stuff. I wanted to talk about um, I want to talk about what's going on at the end. All right, Mr. Claude is back with us, so let me see if I can get this to take care of, get him added to the show. All right, here we go. There we go. Mr. Claude, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. I don't know what happened.
I don't either. It froze
must
up.
be must be them gods, them evil, that evil out there in the universe somewhere that don't want us coalescing.
But now we're here, brother, and that's the blessing. So I was just giving a rundown on doing. I did 20. I was saying how both of us military veterans. We did our
Right.
time in service, uh, you know, and we retired. So today's talk is about what happens from the day we walked out. I mean, both of them had some exciting careers and some really great points, really down points in the military. But now the focus I want to talk about what happened when you walked out of military service because I got a story too, and it was run. It's different.
Well,
It's different.
I
When you
think,
walk out. Is what I'm
I
saying.
think, I think you walk out with. I think you walk out in a cloud. I think, regardless of the length of your service, I think you walk out with with everything that you had, everything that you had to put up with, everything that happened that was never addressed. You know, because depending on the period that you was in the service, certain things you didn't go to the doctor for, because the service is a man thing. It was a man kind of thing until you know they fully integrated women into the service. But it was bravado. You didn't show weakness and stuff. And for the black veteran, it's even worse because basically you got a muzzle on what on your the consequences of what happened to you. So I think you walk out with a lot of baggage. I think you know your
So
PTS.
when you decided you were ready to retire, you announced it. You got your orders, and you'll be out of the service in less than 6 months or 8 months or something like that. For the last 6 months or so, you started to detach, right?
Yeah, but when you take that last physical, right?
Hmm.
They don't test. You're not tested for PTSD. I mean, you're not. It's not like you exit from the military with them recognizing PTSD and associated kind of ailments related to that military service. That's not addressed until you're out of the military. Even though the conditions and the situations were caused while you were in the military, but that never
So
got addressed.
push you out and expect the VA to take it.
Well, yeah, basically you've got to go and fight for yourself. You got to prove to the VA that what happened to you while you were in the military actually happened to you.
Uh, so I guess one of the things in my mind that I can't seem to break out is you've been in the military. You've been conditioned to be an airman or conditioned to be a soldier.
Right.
So you got your general orders that you don't forget. You know your general orders. You got very basic things that you got to be in the service. You got to be fit. You got to be able to pass a PT test. Uh, all these little things. Your uniform got to be right. You got to be take a weight class. You got to do all these things while you're on active duty, and then when you walk out, there's nothing to prepare you to have no weight on your back
Right.
because you're walking out of being $1 million person because you may be in charge of who knows how much. You hear this before. How much stuff we've been in charge of. You're a responsible person. You're responsible for the lives of 50 to 100 to 200 people. You're responsible for $10 billion worth of equipment. You're responsible for the representation of an organization. You have so much pressure on you to be the best that you can be in Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps. It doesn't matter where you are, you're trying to strive to be the best that you can be. So this is a change. You walk out the gate, and all that is not on your back anymore.
Well, let me ask you a question. My
Okay.
daddy was my daddy was in the Korean War. I never heard him mention PTSD. So is that new?
There used to be shell shock.
But was it?
There used to be shell shock.
But you had to be in. You had to be shell shocked, meaning you had to be in combat. You can have PTSD from military service unrelated to actual combat.
I don't think PTSD had been evaluated to a particular level
Right.
until recently. It ain't been around forever. I mean,
I mean, racism in the military can cause PTSD.
and that was one of the reasons I did some research about World War II. There was over 1 million black people that served in World War II.
Wow.
Now, if you think about the year for World War II was 1945. So you got 45 years, it was 1800. So 1863 to 1900. So that's what 30, 30, 37 years.
Mm-hmm.
So here it is. You've been given your freedom. 37 plus what 40, 77 years plus 82, 82 years you're fighting for America before in less than 100 years. I'll put it like that. You went from slave to a soldier, a slave to a person, and now you come back home from the military. You got well when you only were allowed to function in the service industry, and very few black people were placed in combat during World War II.
Yeah, just by situational combat, like if they was in a motor pool or driving trucks and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So, so with all of that going on, the military people came back. When they got back to America, they experienced basically the same thing. The white veterans out of out of out of 100%, 87% of them were approved VA loans,
Mm-hmm.
and basically to get houses, to buy businesses, to go to school. You got the GI Bill going.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Mississippi, out of 4,000 people that applied, only like three black people were able
Wow. To
uh,
get a home loan. To get a home loan.
that came out the war.
Wow.
So it's been discrimination all through our history. Black people could not, black veterans, which came out of the military, couldn't move in certain areas because
Right.
of the redneck.
But places like Levittown and these communities that were created were for veterans. These were veterans, returning veterans.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So they didn't. The federal government did. They did see the federal government played both sides of the sword. They gave the responsibility to taking care of federal money for the state, and at the same time they gave the state the responsibility of the state to the former people that were in charge of the state.
My co-host, my host,
But
as your, that's why I keep telling you in this federation of
mm,
states,
mm,
we're not in charge of not one of them.
no,
We ain't going nowhere. So are
mm,
we gonna continue to not be the majority anywhere
and not be able.
and be at the whim of what we're talking about on this show week after week after week?
That's where it look. I mean, where do we go from here? I mean, we can talk about this until the cows come home. I mean, but I mean, we still, no matter how many times. That's one thing. Like I say, I don't talk to his brother that much, but Chuck, he never quit.
No, he
He,
never quits.
he's only he's still, no matter how many failed events he do, he's still doing nothing. I never understood that. That dude
You
was
got
not.
you got to admire it though. I mean, he's got a stick to itiveness that you got to appreciate, brother.
I don't care. He fail. I watched so many failed events go through, man, and he come back with
But
another.
it goes back to, and I don't want to expose him, but it goes back to like when I met Chuck and we came to San Antonio with the voter fund, and we was looking for somebody that could help us with the formerly incarcerated. You know,
Mm,
there was a lot of other people that was after the money that the voter fund had, right, in the program.
mm,
Chuck stood out because Chuck was genuine and sincere, and he has a certain trust element. Now, to the degree that the black middle class and to the degree that the who says in San Antonio won't support him, because he's not a failure alone. He's a failure because he can't get the support. he recognizes that he don't have all the skill sets that he needs to be successful sometimes. But that doesn't stop him from never giving up, and that's what I appreciate about him, man.
Mhm.
But I don't think the San Antonio middle class leadership will ever accept his leadership.
Mm. I learned that there's a circle is small. There's a handful of people that are always sitting on the diocese of everything, and it's the very same people. And because
It's the very same people in a city like Houston or
mm,
Dallas,
when it's the
and
very same people, you get the very same results that you've had already. You already see the results that you get from this very same diocese. These
because
people are not interested in success for the community.
but they're not interested. I don't believe because I've always thought that Chuck was a platform for us to reach back down because he is connected in his own way, and I don't think that I had a brother tell me, a friend of mine, and I encouraged him to come on the show. He said that as black people, his responsibility is to take care of his family, and that's it. See, that's not a community spirit. That's
No,
that's a European
but
spirit.
most of these communities, these got to be people that are not veterans that don't have a tie to a historical organization in America.
Well, I mean,
That's
it's not just veterans. I mean, it could be our legacy it could be our legacy organizations. It doesn't have to be just veterans. It could be legacy organizations.
that statement you just heard from that guy.
Hmm.
They don't have a connection.
Yes, they
They
do. But they
oh,
made a conscious decision to to line
oh,
up their priorities and say, this is what's important. Look, Chuck's got all kind of challenges, but he still cares enough for the people that are left behind, and that he's constantly out there trying to do something to reach
veteran.
out to them. Huh?
I'm still. I mean, we got people walking out of the military every day, and look at the people that just opened a liquor store over on Rigsby, not even 2 years ago, and they both are unalive right
Hey,
now. They
what
both
happened?
each other,
They killed each
each
other, or somebody broke into the store.
each other, each other. In the liquor store, I mean, they just opened the liquor store, and it's almost like it's no matter what, how many steps we take forward, we take steps back
But why is
because
that, brother? Is it because of I mean, we're
we
talking
do.
about PTSD. Is it
Yeah,
because of
I mean, it's PTSD to the max. It's almost like you see something terrible happening, and you look the other way, and that's exactly why it's so difficult for this country to prosper
well?
because they
Let me
see
read
the
to you.
difficulties we are having here, and they look
Po-
the other.
well, let's read about what is PTSD.
Hmm.
Post traumatic stress disorder is caused by witnessing, experiencing, or learning about someone close to you who experienced traumatic events, such as actual or threatened death, serious injury, or sexual violence. Now, that definition doesn't take us back to slavery, because we ain't witnessed nothing about slavery.
That's why it's called post-traumatic stress. I mean,
But one thing, but
disorder.
we haven't witnessed, as African Americans, we haven't witnessed.
Why? Who gets to name these situations? Who
I'm
get
just
to name?
telling you the other argument is, you know, the people on the other side of the argument would say, well, you've never experienced slavery. You was never a slave. You was
You know,
never this.
I was a GS9, right?
Hmm.
And the job I was doing was GS11, and they didn't want to promote me to GS11 because they told me if I wrote the job
Why
description,
didn't they want to promote you?
because the job description was described as a 9, and I'm
Oh,
saying
okay.
it's 11, and they didn't want to hear it unless I wrote it.
Now
right?
11 puts you in executive level, right?
Huh?
What's
That's
executive level?
That's SES.
What
GS
level is it
to GS 14, then it goes
for?
to G,
Okay,
then it goes to SES.
okay. And
So
so they say your job description read like a nine.
yeah, read as a noun. So all I had to do was write it up. But then when I wrote it up, I got my promotion to 11. And then as I got 11, I got promoted to another job that made me go back down to a 9, but I retained the GS11 pay.
So
And then I went from the 9
now, were you a government employee or were you working for a civilian firm?
the government, working for the government.
I never. So
But
you had to write your own rating,
yeah, I did. And I wrote it and got promoted,
but you said he put you back down to a nine.
but with the same pay as an 11 in a
Oh,
different
so how did so? But okay, I've heard of this before. How does that?
military. I mean, as in the GS system. Huh?
But so they made you a nine, but they was paying you as the 11.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you
why
don't go
didn't
different pay.
so why
In other
didn't they
words,
make you an 11?
because the position required a 9. In other
So
words,
why?
I got hired as a 9.
Right.
I'm going into a new career field. So I come in as a beginner, which
But they
was
was
a
paying
9.
you as a, but they was paying you as an 11 because of the experience you already had.
Yes.
So why didn't
So
they just make you an 11?
that's a question they would have to answer that I could not answer.
Okay.
All I know is my money never changed. And
Yeah,
that I was more concerned about the money than I.
so were there people in the company that they didn't want you to supervise to be over?
No, no, it was nothing like that. It was just a way to get what I wanted
Right.
and go into the career field I wanted to go into. I wanted to be in contract, and that's where I went. In order for me to get into contracting, I had to go in as a lineman.
But based on that definition of PTSD that the government uses, that wouldn't apply to slavery.
Well, that's the thing, Claude. You're tunnel visioning your definition to what the
No, I'm
government.
reading the government's definition.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The government definition don't define what happened to us. Just like the government don't say that the land belongs to us, but we know it does. So that our situation has nothing to do with what the government has defined already. It's what they have not defined is the problem. And we can identify what they have not defined. And they
So
have not
should
defined that they created a problem and they have not admitted to it.
so
That's
should
the
that
problem.
should that be part of the black agenda? I mean,
Absolutely. That should be the black agenda. Making the government admit to what they have done formally. And once they admit to what they have done, then you can begin the healing process. But you
but that
cannot
but that
heal until you admit.
but the government will never admit that slavery had an impact that slavery created PTSD in the black that the black that
That's
slavery is a product of PT.
why we
You know what I'm
know
trying to say.
that's why we know we never gonna get this rectified in our day. We have to be able to pull together a case to make them act towards that case based on their law. We cannot just create something out of the blue and push it forward and expect to move forward, and it's not in compliance with the law that's already defined. Same with veterans. When veterans come out of the military, there's no law that requires of the government to do anything for them.
Right, nothing.
They do everything for themselves. So if we had a law that mandated that a veteran receive 2 years of college He receives a $30,000 for land purchase, or just something other than just, hey, we thank you for your 27 years of service. Go see the VA. We obliged by that, but that's not the way it works. We got school, we got voc. When a veteran walks out of the service, is he going to school? Is he going to college? Is he looking for a job? What is he doing? You know, is he which service, which branch of service is he coming from, and what skill set did he obtain while he was on active duty in that military service? How does that skill set apply to the civilian sector, and where are the jobs at in that particular field? It's just a domino effect of what has not happened for veterans that come out the military, and that's why you have a high. There's 6.7 veterans committing suicide every single day. That's a lot. Every single day, 6.7 veterans commit suicide.
Yep.
There's homeless veterans, and there's all these programs that the VA claim that they got out there. But the moment the veteran starts to apply for these systems, then you end up going through bureaucracy, paperwork. They want you to come here, they want you to be there, and then they end up losing all your stuff, and you have to do it all over again.
And then
And that's
and
we gonna come out.
if you're a homeless veteran, how you gonna
Mm.
get to this appointment or that appointment or this appointment that the VA sets up for you, for your exam and all this kind of? How you gonna get there?
And they swabbing down, they helping
And you're a homeless veteran. Now they do
you.
pay you. They pay you after the fact. They'll
Hmm.
send you a check after the fact. But who marshals that veteran through that process? There are all kind of agencies out there now.
There's no coach. There's nobody helping that veteran transition, and they're not. They say who you want to be assigned to the DAV, the American Legion. What do you want to be assigned? Yeah, they just assign you there and forget about you. They expect these volunteer agencies to do the work that the federal or the state legislature has tasked them to do. They don't do jack bone for the veteran.
And then it
And
depend. And then it's a geographic thing. It just depends on what state you happen to be in. In
mm,
terms of
you
the kind
know,
of
you know,
service.
the situation's so bad, Claude, that they've established a veteran crisis hotline,
Right.
988. If a veteran has any problems, he dials what 988, and he gets a what they call it, a suicide prevention conversation. I found these topics, and you tell me what you think about these. Combat exposure. That's how
Hmm.
an individual get PTSD. Loss of structure and identification when you walk out of the military. Because when you were in the military, yes, Sergeant Major, yes, sir, yes, Captain, yes, Major, yes, whomever, you were being addressed as your particular rank, and you was the big dog if you was a E8 or E9 or a major or a captain or even a lieutenant for that matter. You were demanded respect, and they had to respect you, and
Hmm.
that's how it worked in the military. So when you walk out of that gate, though, you lose that perspective of identification and that perspective of structure that you had before you walked out of that gate. When you walk out there, you trying to take that stuff into your home, you gonna be on the street before the week out. You are not gonna survive going into your out walking out of the military trying to take your military tactics into your home. That is not gonna work. So you have to make the change when you come out.
Right.
Transmission challenges when you're trying to be a civilian now. And who in their right mind walk around talking about these are civilians and these are military? Who
Right.
in their right mind walk around talking about that? Yeah, man, me and my Navy buddies, my Air Force buddies, we gonna meet up over in Taiwan next summer. You know, who still do that? I'm gonna have to tell the truth. My brother does. He's
Oh,
stuck
really?
on stuff, man. He loves his Navy and his Marine Corps. Uh, period. They, 40 years, 50 years later, they still in touch. I don't
Yeah,
know how military people I can conjure up. Are you still in
yeah.
touch with your veterans, your
Two,
military?
yeah, two of them from what 40 years ago seems like. One is in Ohio, Otis Tuck, and the other one's in Alabama. And but they were my roommates though. We were roommates
But did you just say two?
too. Yeah, that I've kept in touch with. That I
So,
know that I have I talked to them on Facebook. We've talked about a reunion, getting back together, and that kind of stuff. But we haven't really yet.
so how many people you think you met over your military career?
Oh, thousands, thousands, thousands from from all over the country. You know,
Thousands
uh,
of people, and,
thousands.
and you remember two.
I kept in touch with two.
You kept in touch with two.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me you had to go through thousands of people to find two friends?
No, what I'm saying is I've kept in touch with
Hey,
two.
I had to get you on that.
No, I mean, in terms of keeping track of them,
Yeah,
knowing
yeah.
what their family's doing, knowing where they live, that kind of stuff. Yeah, because military acquaintances are pretty much you're in a unit, you meet people, you move to another unit, you meet different people, so you don't really establish long-term relationships, especially
That's
guys.
that's that's a great point. So your social dysfunction,
Yeah,
being able to social to fit into society when you go out, you got this mentality that's stuck in the back of your head that you're not gonna be that long. You already know
you
that
know,
you're gonna leave. You
well,
got 36 months, and you out.
p- part of part, part of PTSD is social isolation. A lot of veterans, you know, isolate themselves because they've
Hmm.
never developed that network, that long-term network of friends, have never been in one place long enough to have that network of support, and that's why a lot of veterans wind up homeless.
So what do you think about the children that are the results of military people moving around all the time? I had that issue, and I regret it. I really regret having to drag my children around the country, even though they got to see the world,
I mean,
But
I think it's the experiences that they gain kind of outweighs the disadvantages. I mean, I think that in most cases, like
I,
being able to travel to Europe, being able to travel to different parts of the world, different
mm,
experiences. I think that's all good. I think that's some of the most successful people in the country are military children
mm,
uh,
mm. So
because they're
this is
not.
they go
Yeah,
country.
I mean, I haven't seen no studies on it, but they seem
Have
to
you talked
adapt.
to kids about it before?
Huh?
I talked to my kids about it, and they said that the one thing that they didn't like about moving around the
Was
military,
loss of friends.
yeah, loss of friends and establishing your roots into a community. You
Yeah.
never establish your roots into a community.
Right.
You keep it moving.
Now
And uh,
you were in the army. I was in the Air Force. Really don't move that much.
mm,
We I didn't. I didn't. When I went to Southern Illinois on that bootstrap program, I was in Omaha, Nebraska. And my boss, who was a white '06, allowed me to go to that program.
mm,
So the I think it depends on the branch of service. You don't move. The Air Force doesn't move around that much. Let's say like the Army, who may move every 2 years, or a lot of deployments and
36
that kind of
months
stuff.
we move.
Yeah, I mean, you
Every,
got civilians that move around more often than people in the Air Force do, in
mm,
some cases, because it's just not that. It's not a mobile force. It's more
mm,
of a stationary force. I
mm,
mean, what you do in Nevada, you can't do nowhere else. It's only in Nevada. So you may, if that's your specialty, you may be in Nevada for damn near your whole career in the Air Force. You know,
Mm,
missiles don't leave Wyoming. They stay in Wyoming. So if you're a missile launch officer, you're gonna be in Wyoming.
mm. So how
Unless
many
you,
did you travel
unless,
a lot?
unless you move. I was in Germany, but
Mm.
I spent all my time in Germany in an underground command center. When I was in Nebraska, I was at
What
Saginaw Strategic.
you did nuclear?
Hmm?
Were
I
you
was
with nuclear
controller,
weapons? Huh?
control, controller, command, you know, command post
Command
controller, and
launch control.
no, I was the guy that handled that that did the control stuff for the command. I wasn't a missile launch officer. I wasn't out in the silos. No, I was in the command center
Mm.
in Omaha. I worked at command headquarters. Uh, I was in Germany in an underground bunker. The only thing that you saw above ground was a little command post. Everything was underground, and you go underground about 100 feet, and everything is nice and blue. You spend your whole life down there, and you didn't know you was underground because they made the walls look like the sky, so
Mm.
you didn't think that you were underground.
Mm.
And so I spent a lot of time in those kind of facilities.
Mm.
How about you?
Well, I worked with nuclear weapons over there too. I did the dispersion missile,
Oh,
and
okay.
I worked in the platoon control center where I did
Right.
the monkey codes and broke the cards and stuff. And
But
cyber.
my brother was in the army. His two daughters, he's got daughters that traveled around a lot. I mean, I think that there are some negativities, but I think the experiences that they gain, the flexibility that they experience or that they gain, I think it kind of offsets the constant travel, you know, that
So you
military.
then soldier somebody going in the military now? You
Do I have anybody going in?
know what I'm saying? Would you recommend it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I given society, given the social aspects of society, I don't know. I don't know. I know. I went to the military because of the educational benefits. That was my pathway to college.
Mm.
That's why I went in. That's where my brother went in.
Mm.
Uh, and I think a lot of African Americans go in for non-patriotic reasons. And to the degree that society hasn't addressed those reasons, like
Mm.
be they financial, educational, or whatever, I think you're going to continue to have minorities in the military in large numbers because they're going for opportunities.
The Army has a system that they would much rather develop a system to get you in than to offer the services for you out in your community. And they use this system called Teams. It is a foolproof, 100% works every daggone time system.
Hmm.
And I learned this system going through the recruiting school at the Indianapolis, Indiana, for Benjamin Harrison uh, barracks
Mm-hmm.
back whatever year that was. I think 88, 89, probably before many of you were born. It
Oh,
was a long time.
that's somebody called that in.
Huh?
That was a viewer.
No, no, I didn't even set my phone up this time around. I left it somewhere. I don't even know where it's at right now. But I was going to tell you about this team stuff.
Uh huh.
TEAMS.
Uh huh.
They first hit you up when they find a recruit. They talk to you about training, and they try to tell you how great the training is.
Oh, this
How
called Teams. That's a social media platform, ain't it?
yeah, TEAMS. So then after they get you tell them now I'm not interested in the training that you guys do. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to do it. They come at you with education. Then they start talking about the GI Bill and all that other stuff. And if you don't want that, then they got the adventure, EA. So you're on the A. And they talking about, man, you can go scuba diving, you can go skydiving, you can go rappelling, you can be out in the woods setting up tents, camping, learn how to fish, learn how to live off the land. You know, you might not want to do all that. So you
Hmm.
don't. So you turn the recruiter down for training, you turn him down for education, you turn him down for adventure. Now he's fixing to get to you. He's fixing to get to you. He definitely. He want to give you some money. You know what? If you really want to get paid, that's what you can do. You can join the military, do this job. We'll pay you seven
Right.
thousand dollars. I mean, that's what we do. We did that. We offer money after we could not get you on these other issues. And if you
Right.
turn down money, now I'm going to get you on guilt, service to the country. You don't like being
Hmm.
a citizen. Huh? You don't know that these people have fought, died for your freedom, and you do what you do. You don't want to help. So it was a racket, man. We worked on them TEAMS. We worked that stuff, man, and it
Teams.
worked.
Yeah. That's a social media platform too.
Oh, it is.
Teams. Yeah. TEAMS. Teams. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. These acronyms get intertwined. People use them for different things, different structures. But like I say, man, my thing is, you know, when you look at the history of this country,
Mm-hmm.
when you look at, you know, the Native Americans, how do you, when Spain sold America all the land in Louisiana Purchase, right? Alabama, Mississippi. How did Spain get the land? What made it theirs?
They took it from the Moors for real.
Because the Moors
Means-
they couldn't fight. Did they fight?
Yeah, yeah. They defeated the Moors in 1460.
Oh, the Moors did fight.
Yeah, they fought the Spanish in 1460 in the
So
Louisiana Purchase area. The
so
Moors,
so did so did the Moors? I don't want to get off subject, but did the Moors allow the Native Americans to live on the land?
the Moors were not
Why
having
didn't?
issues until the Spaniards, white folks, start coming. Spaniards are white,
Right.
and then they attacked the Moors.
But did they try to negotiate with the Moors? How did that process? You don't hear nothing about that.
I know but that's how they got the ring.
But
And
how
then the
did they
Americans,
approach the? Did they approach the Moors? I mean, was there a fight?
the Moors set their cities in circular motion, in circular establishments, and the Spanish set their cities in triangular status. So the controversy started when they were developing cities and they were setting the cities up way differently than the Moors wanted the cities to be set up. So the Moors would not allow them to set the cities up a certain way.
Right.
And so we started to fight to set the cities up a certain way. And they won.
But
They
I thought that.
defeated mhm,
Okay, but what years were that?
1460.
1460s.
Mm-hmm. You want to find it? You find it in
No,
uh,
just when because I thought they took. I thought I thought they took the land from the native.
find it in this book right here.
Indian givers. Jack Weatherford. Let me write that down. Why did he call it Indian givers?
Because that's the term you most of the people that read this book understand why it's an Indian gift because it's nothing given. It's given to, as a lure, and it's not given. It's taken away to bring you back or to
So
bring you
did
back.
did the Spanish fight the Moors?
Hmm. Yes.
Okay. That
Why got you? What you think?
no, because I was thinking about the, the Louisiana the Louisiana Purchase and marching all the Native Americans to Oklahoma after they basically took the land.
I'm a black folk.
Because once they bought it from Spain, they kicked the Native Americans off the land. The Spaniards seemed to have been okay with the Native Americans on the land. They had no interest in, right?
I don't know. I didn't do the research. I
That, that was
did.
that, that was my
That's
interest in it because
talk about this Louisiana Purchase, so we can do a topic on that. You want to research it? You want to
yeah,
do
I
it?
can, yeah.
So we'll do
Well,
the Louisiana Purchase this month.
okay.
Actually, it's the right month to do it. This is our native month, our Martin Luther King birthday month. Under no circumstances could you possibly compare a, a, a modern day mortal, a modern day person to Martin Luther King. So it doesn't work that way. Charlie Kirk, no comparison to Martin Luther King. You heard it on BNN 247.
Who tried to make a comparison?
Somebody said that a while ago. I saw a picture out on Facebook as well.
Oh,
But I don't,
somebody tried to connect Charlie Kirk with Martin Luther King Jr.
yeah, try-
But he, but these people are amazing.
it is, ain't it?
To,
They're
to,
trying
to even to
to
even to even some kind of way of conflate him to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
mm, unbelievable, but it's true. All right, so World War II, like I was saying earlier, nearly 1 million blacks on active duty. When they came back from the war, they were denied VA home loan. They
Mm-hmm.
were not able to get the VA home loan that the VA had promised. They were not able to get the VA education. And this is the
Right.
saddest thing I can tell you about this VA education. The guy who killed Emmett Till, um, he went to
Had a.
school. Huh?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He went to school not even 100 feet from my house in
What?
Barnes, Mississippi. He
Oh,
was
really? Oh, so you live that close to where that happened?
to what? Yeah, well, to where he went to school on his VA loan
Oh,
because
wow.
he was a vet. He was in the military, and he come back. He and then he ended up
Probably got
going.
the VA loan to make the house purchase and the store purchase.
Well, the store shut down right after that because black folks were not back in. So the store shut down, and so he used his VA loan to go to school. While after he murdered his kid, and he was going to school right down the street from my house. So he passed by my house every single day that he
Right.
went. Every time he went to school, that drove right in front of my house, and I never had a clue that this guy was this close to me until a few years ago.
Mm.
But
Did you?
that
I mean, but that was before your time, though.
yeah, wait, it was right at my time. I was a child.
Right.
He
So
got
were you?
killed. Yeah, it was before my time. He got killed in like 50, 57, something like
Yeah,
that.
because Emmett Till would be how old today? Probably about over 100.
Mhm. Other thing
Wow.
is the education loans messed us up. Then after World War II, they came up with these black codes, and so they started to lock black people back up. That included veterans. Locked a lot of veterans up. I didn't do the numbers on how many veterans got locked up, but they
Well,
locked veterans.
it was the veterans throughout the South who were the civil rights workers and NAACP presidents and activists in Mississippi. These were veterans.
Nigga Evans was a veteran. Yeah.
Right, was a veteran. The brother that was a veteran in North Carolina at that branch that the NAACP said was a militant branch was a veteran. These brothers knew how to take up arms. They knew how to protect themselves. They were fearless.
Mm-hmm.
There wouldn't have been no civil rights movement without veterans. But black veterans don't get the recognition. I don't
and
think.
right now, to me, there need to be some sponsorship for these veterans to come out of the military with over 20 years of service because they're not being transitioned into the community well. And more veterans go through crisis.
You think the branches you think like the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, you think they're all equal in their treatment or unequal? Do you think if a veteran in the Air Force is better off than a veteran in the Army, or is a veteran in the Army better off than a veteran in the Marine Corps? Or you think it's the same?
I really think it's the same. However, I think you have the exposure of knowledge different. That's what makes the difference.
You think the
If
different
you don't
branches?
know, no. If you don't know that you can get 20% for tinnitus, you don't know. If you're at 80%, you've been stuck at 80% for the last 10 years and you don't know why. You haven't claimed tinnitus and you haven't claimed some other little minor thing that could have got you 15%, 20%. If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah, but they got all these veteran assistance programs out there.
But
That
now, if you ain't trying to pay them, they don't want to do nothing for you.
right? Yeah, they want at least half.
They're not out there to help. They're not out there to help. They're no different than the NAACP. They're not going to help you. So, what advice would you give these veterans coming out of the military? What can they do when it comes to learning how to transition from that regimented organization where you had status to a position?
I would encourage veterans to start 6 months to a year before they get out. Start researching and start looking into all of their benefits
Yeah,
and what their eligibility. I would encourage all veterans to take a physical before they get. Some veterans get out and don't
let
take a physical.
this be readily available.
I don't
Isn't
know
there
whether it was.
this stuff readily available? All right, you getting ready to get discharged for the next 6 months. This is your transition to civilian.
I
So
think
this
it, I think it, I think you get a cursory summary of what all the things you're
30,
eligible for and need to do. But then nobody's going to hold your hand and walk you through any of those processes.
but they
Which are,
did the QE. They
huh?
held your hand.
To get you in,
Yeah,
they don't
they
help.
held
They don't hold.
your hand and walked you through every single process.
That ain't the way going out.
Threw
They
you
don't.
out.
They don't hold your hand going out. They give you a bunch of documents and tell you to go here, 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 and here. And if you
And
do it, that's good. If you don't do it, but you don't get a veteran. You don't get someone. But I've been out for a while, so I don't know what they got now. And maybe they've addressed all of that.
what year did
Uh,
you return?
uh, 90,
In 90.
20, 20 years ago.
That's mine. That's mine. All right, give me a sec. All right, I'm back.
Oh,
I
okay.
had to reset my computer there
What year did you retire?
in '98.
98?
You've been out for 30, 10 years longer than me.
Mm-hmm.
8 years longer than me. Yeah, I've enjoyed these 30 some years being retired. I fully retired in 2013. I worked for Boeing for 6 years, and then I worked for VA for 8.
Oh, you
And
work
that
for the
was
VA?
mm
What did you do for the VA?
in contracting. That's why I did
No,
the contract.
what
And
did
I
you do?
retired yes 12. Huh?
You said you was a contractor for the VA. What did you do for them?
I wrote contracts for services for the battery backup systems, for the
Oh, okay.
computer parts, stuff. I did.
Okay.
I just wrote contracts.
Well, I kind of followed in the tradition of the service members that were my role models and continued service in civil rights, fighting for injustice. Because you see a lot of that in the military.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of injustice. So when I got out, that's the path I took, and for the last 30 or some years, that's what I've been doing. I haven't had the dangers like Medgar Evers and those guys had,
Mm-hmm.
but the struggles were just the same. The opposition, when I was like a NAACP branch president, the opposition to equality was just the same in the 90s as it was in the 50s and 60s in some communities. Uh,
So, so what do you suggest? The one of the very first things a soldier should, or a sailor or airman should do when they walk out base as a
well,
retiree.
I think
First,
they should they should join some veteran association for the camaraderie, for information. I think that's one of the first things that I would do.
like the
Uh,
American Legion or
American,
the
yeah, I mean, veteran,
veteran war.
yeah, there's all kind of veteran associations out there now. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they have Black Veterans Associations. You know, I got a guy who was who works for a veteran association. He's in Fayetteville, North Carolina, so they don't have to be like in your hometown. You know,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Well, I'll give you a clue to these veterans of former war. Well, not the veterans, but the American Legion. Any American Legion that starts with a number 8.
for the
That's
number
a black
what?
8. I
Eight.
Mm-hmm.
The number eight.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the
What's the
number 8.
what's the significance?
That's a black American Legion.
Oh, okay. The
It
number
has a,
eight.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
All the black ones have 8. Yep.
I didn't know that. I have to look that. I have to look and see.
All the black VFW.
They got
All right,
the
so
number eight, huh?
mhm. Law enforcement and military retirees. Uh, be careful with the law enforcement. They don't care about you being a retiree. So just don't think that that's going to get
No,
you.
because a cop pulled me over the other day for speeding, and I gave him my ID. He acknowledged my service and still gave me the goddamn ticket.
So it doesn't matter. So it's good
It
that you
didn't
did,
matter.
but it's not going to help you. But you can try it. It's worth a try.
It didn't
Okay.
help. It didn't help me.
But see, the worst thing about it is when you come out of a federal service position, you are
Uh huh.
left in local government. You hear what I said?
Yeah.
You've been governed by the federal service for the last 20 some years.
Right.
Everything about you've been federal. You probably had up to a top secret security clearance.
I had a top secret
You,
special
you're
FBI.
dealing with a local government that knows nothing about how to deal with a military person with your status. So, what do you do? How do you handle this? How do you transition? when you're that HNIC. You that bad dude when you walk out of that gate. When you walk to work every day, you got the utmost respect. You got one of them cherry desks. You got a window view of the base. You got everything. You got concierge working for you.
But
You don't have
when you walk out that office, you
yeah.
just
Walk out,
another.
you ain't got none of that. That all that stays with the next person coming into that position. You go out by yourself. There's no concierge out there with you. So give it
So
up and be ready to turn it loose. And
so
to cut your own grass.
so you think that the so you think military service gives us a false importance, or
That's just important.
mis, a misleading importance, or unrealistic expectation of how we should be treated outside those gates?
I
Because
think that people
once you leave that office,
don't have a clue how to treat a military person coming out that gate. They don't understand who you are and where you coming from. They don't understand what you've been in charge of and what you had to
oh,
do.
but
Why would they disrespect you? They
that
don't
don't.
know
Are you talking about a black one or a white one?
you. Huh?
Are you saying black veterans, or I mean black GIs, or are you talking about white GIs?
Most of us, if nobody tell us that we ain't shit, we think we the shit. Ah,
So
you know,
you think the military gives you a false sense of shit?
you got a false sense of shit.
I mean, that's not a crime. Is a white veteran treated differently in
Huh?
the same position? Is a is a white veteran with the mahogany desk and the leather chair, is he treated differently when he go outside the gate?
I'm bad too. He don't care. Don't nobody care that you did this in the service. This is what you gonna do now. What you think you do now? You come out of the gate, you somebody else. You have to act accordingly. If you don't make the change, then you get caught up being that super soldier that you were, and people don't accept that the way they did it. Ain't
Well,
nobody
I don't.
getting out on the sidewalk. Ain't nobody saying yes, sir, 3 bags full, sir. And ain't
But no,
nobody
but in the military, it's based on your rank.
mm,
It ain't based on your race or your pocketbook.
mm,
Outside them gates, it's based on your pocketbook. It's based on your race. It's
mm,
based on, you know, those two factors probably more so than the position you hold or the
mm,
job title or whatever.
mm.
So
So veterans with over 20 years getting ready to retire, the first thing we suggest you do is join a veterans organization because that's going to be the best thing for you coming out that gate. And then once you join that veteran organization, take you about 6 months and don't try to do nothing fast. Hopefully, you built up enough economic stability where you can take 6 months off. Don't do nothing fast. Join that military organization, make a couple of meetings, see what's going on, let your body unwind, and become a civilian. You're no longer a military person. You are a civilian, and you need to act accordingly. Just like this commercial where the
you
man,
think you think it's harder to you think the transition is more difficult based on the branch of service? I mean, is it less difficult in the Air Force because we're so civilianish,
for the Air Force,
and
I
it's
think it's
probably
harder
less
because the Air Force got a false sense of elevation.
false sense of intelligence,
Of,
elevation, what of
of
everything.
elevation. Yeah,
Okay,
having that mentality that thinking because you're Air Force, you better.
how
That's a,
about the
that's
Na- how
that's elevation.
how about the Navy? Where would you rank them?
The Navy, I would rank them even below the Air Force because the Navy think they the shit and they ain't.
Okay, the Army.
they got the white uniforms and all that shit, but they the worst one.
The Army, what would you rate them?
Shit, I'm is the shit now. They number one. I'm the army. What
And
you think
then
I'm gonna say about the army?
and
The
then
army,
The Marine Corps.
army the Air Force, the Navy, and maybe the Marine Corps.
And now you got the Space Force. So where you think they fit
Space Force ain't even ranking.
in?
They still bumping into each other. They ain't got nothing going. You know,
no,
veterans, I'm telling you,
no.
man, this Veterans Day, and we starting the year
But
2026.
do you think technology has made everything that we've talked about on this show kind of non-extinct because you got access to so much now that we didn't have access to, that wasn't readily available on social media. Communication was different. So
When you pull up prostate, see, do some research on prostate. When it's time for you to get your prostate. Then when you pull up ingrown toenail in your post office. So you don't think about things that don't bother you.
but
So
but
these
but when you say social media has closed that gap in, like when you and I got out and what knowledge was available versus a veteran today getting out.
so we can find out in 30 seconds. We couldn't find out where the damn DAV was located. You know, we had
I
to look
mean,
at the map. It ain't on this map no more. We gotta go look at this map was updated. We had to go get it
well,
updated.
we didn't have Google. We didn't have all this social media platforms. Now you can. There ain't nothing you want to know that you can't find out in less than a minute.
You can find it out quickly. Everything. So
Everything. So isn't that better for the veteran? Isn't veterans more? Aren't they
this,
more knowledgeable? More. I mean, they can look up. They can say, "Well, Veterans Association."
but see,
I
that's the
mean,
thing. What happens if you say, "Well, I need to file a claim"? You put it in the internet.
hmm
First thing that pop up that everybody that do it for profit. You got to pay them a percentage of your return if they get it.
no, I mean, if you put in, if I put in file a VA claim,
Mhm. You're gonna get 100, probably 1,000 hits, and the first few hits
take
you're
the
gonna.
first step today. Easy.
It's
File your
like if you
VA claim. VA claim support. What I'm saying is that wasn't available when I got out.
if you want a document right now, you can go online and then they say, "Oh, do your document here," and you can sit there for the next hour doing your document. Get to the end, they want to charge you 19. They're telling you it's
But
free.
but you but you can go to the VA office and they'll do it for free.
Yeah,
They'll
same
fill
thing.
it out right there on the screen,
And then I got a
and
friend that pays.
they got access to your medical records.
They just pay somebody to do theirs. But they pay them too.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, because the
Yeah,
VA system can take a long time, can be a little bit bureaucratic, but
mhm.
most times, like I filed a claim, I went over to the VA and they filled it out right there at the desk, and she had
Mhm.
access to my medical records right there.
And it's done right there. You don't have
Yeah.
to. You don't end up going around doing a whole bunch of work trying to get it done.
Mm-mm.
Done right there that day, and you don't have to worry about it until you get a letter from the VA. All right. So one thing that bothers me about the veteran retirement, once they go to the state, once you come out of the military, you come from federal service. Now you're subjected to local laws and local jurisdiction, local management of your assets and all that kind of stuff. You no longer have that vacuum of the military to guide your security throughout civilian throughout life. So now that you're doing this, You got to deal with local government, and they don't really care that you're military, but it's important that you make them know that you because
Why
it's
you
so.
say they don't really care?
Huh?
Why you say they don't really care and appreciate your military service?
I'm gonna be honest with you. You think the VA care that you're a veteran, and that they not that if you're a veteran, you're gonna get 100% of their attention. It doesn't matter that you're a veteran. What matters is that they have a job. They don't give a damn if you're a veteran or whoever. They
But
treat
that,
you.
you think that's true across the board?
Mm-hmm. Especially at the VA. I worked for them. I went to the first thing.
You work there in San Antonio,
No, in
hey, in Austin.
all.
Well, I could see Austin. Austin is not. Well, that was a military base right there. Now, what's that base? Bergstrom?
This is a hidden location.
Huh?
It was a hidden location.
Oh,
So, and it was probably 1,000 people.
why was it hidden?
It wasn't necessarily hidden, but it was hidden in plain sight. It didn't have you didn't wouldn't know that that's what it was.
Uh,
But
wasn't that a military base in Austin? Wasn't Bergstrom?
yeah, it's still a military base. I know.
No, it's not. Where is it at?
I thought it was.
Bergstrom closed. That's the airport now.
Oh, where they put the airport?
Uh huh. They
Okay.
closed the one that off of 35, and they when Bergstrom closed, they that's a huge airport up there now.
Mhm.
They got international flights and everything. You wouldn't. When the last time you been out there?
About a month ago, I was up at the rally at the racetrack,
Where's the racetrack at in Austin?
America's racetrack, right there next to the airport.
Oh, really? Well, you see how they done redeveloped that and highways and byways and the growth in that
But
area.
I don't know
Yeah.
a whole lot.
Wish I had an. I used to work in Austin. I wish I had invested in some property back then. Be-
Living, we did these 20 years plus in the military. We toiled very hard to get through it, and we made it. And now that we're reaping the values of it, people really don't. This is what the part that what I didn't say about the VA. VA don't really like to see a veteran because now he comes in the door making his veteran salary, right? That he's going to get paid for the rest of his life. He's making that salary when he walks in the door
right.
of a government facility. And once they find out that you're a veteran, now they don't feel that they have the need to pay you what they would pay a regular person because you're already getting money. So we don't have to pay him that much. We already get. This is how they treat veterans. So if you're a veteran and you're working at a government job, the first thing you do, you find out the range of pay for everybody in your position because you don't want to be at the bottom level of the range just because you just not getting there. You got experience. They don't pay veterans because they don't want to see veterans move up.
Right.
And more civilians that don't have anything to do with the military that are getting that in these very, very high positions. My whole chain of command, from me working in Austin all the way to the president, like
Hmm.
every last one of them, and none of us got along. In contracting, you do 3 levels of training. I had to fight them to send me to the first level. Then I got that first level done. Then I got the second level done. Then I got the third level done.
Why?
And
Why
then
did you had to
uh,
fight because you had to fight because you was African American or?
they were sending this little Filipino girl got there 3 months after I did. As soon as she hit the ground, she was going to school. She was gone. I said, how the fuck y'all gonna do that? You're gonna send her to school and then send me. And I've been here all this time trying to go.
Mm.
And I
What
ended
what
up
was that response? What was that response?
I ended up going right after that.
Oh, okay. But what was their response to you when you questioned it?
Oh well, we didn't know you had been. We gonna take care of it. They were lying. They were lying. They lied a lot.
They was
And the
they was
thing is,
banking on you not.
what I find is that these people will lie and don't give a damn about it. I'm trying to get back online here. There we go. These people will lie and don't give a damn about it, and be on to the next thing. They don't care, and they don't care that they lied to you.
Right.
But that's a pretty sad way for that they operate, but they do. They operate. But Claude, we've had a good hour. I don't know how long we've been talking, but I think it's been a little longer than an hour.
It's been a
Uh,
long. Yeah, I need to get off here.
yeah, about an hour and
But it's
15.
interesting.
But you
It's
coming
an
back
interesting show.
today? Huh?
It's been an
Go
interesting
ahead.
show.
You close the comments and let's call it a day, and I'll be ready for you next Sunday. We be there. We look at what we said we're gonna talk about.
Shoot, man, I don't forget. It'll I'll email you.
Okay, because I
Oh,
forgot.
do me a
But go ahead.
favor. Text me
Huh?
your mailing address. Text me your mailing address.
Okay. All right. We'll,
Yeah, yeah.
I got
Text me that. Yeah. But no, it's been an interesting show. You know, it's always, we the subject PTSD, black, black people, veterans. You know, uh, there's always that connection. You know, and we always wind up in talking about race and the racial impact of whatever we talk about. Because sadly, in 2026, race still matters.
mm-hmm.
And so we have to take certain initiatives and do certain things because our government, our society itself, does not value us in the same way it values everybody else. So information is really powerful, and to the degree that we can make people a little bit more aware about things that maybe they wasn't aware about, like PTSD and the impact of PTSD in military service. I think we've done a justice to our fellow veterans. So I appreciate this. I appreciate this show and appreciate us talking about it. And veterans, if you are getting ready to leave the military, join that veteran organization. Stay connected. And peace.
All right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have our one and only Mr. Claude Foster joining us here on BNN 247.
All right,
Checking
brother.
out, and we will see him on next Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Thank you so much, Mr. Claude. All right, this is the Black News Network, BNN 247, the real voice of Black USA, broadcasting on a Black perspective. We don't own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to what we say. Remember, these things are happening for a reason. And the way they happen is they blend the identity that we are trying to isolate. I mean, our objective now is not to blend, or not to allow ourselves to blend, but to isolate ourselves as the descendants of the slaves and not all these other entities that are coming to this country to be part of this race or to be part of this society or to be a citizen here. We have to distinguish ourselves because every second, every day that goes by where we're allowing them to determine the scope of who we are, we're losing ground. Because if we don't this entire ground is no longer going to be in reach for us to go back to. That is the issue. We got to get back to our land. And we're not going to get back to our land unless we pull together and start to look at the values of being a descendant of a slave. That is the problem. So what's happening on the opposite side of us, they're doing a blend the identity. Blend our identity with the Trinidadians, the Koreans, the Black Germans, the Black Africans, all blend all these races together, and now we disappear the African American. You ain't no African. You ain't no African American. You are an American. You don't have the African connection. You're just like everybody else here. If everybody else here was an African, whatever they are, then we would be an African American. But since everybody else is not an African, whatever they are, we are not an African American. We are an American. And we ain't got nowhere to go back to. So I don't care how often you can think of that or make that the new norm. It's not affecting us and it's not applying to us. We ain't going nowhere. This is home and it's ours. And you have finagled all the documentation to make it look like it's yours. But in the reality, it is not. And we are here to show you how it does not belong to you. Just keep watching. Keep watching. Blend the identity. Now you want to erase the race lines where you don't see where our race line is and where ours ends and where theirs begin. And you make this invisible to the world. And now you're where you need to be. You can dissolve us forever. We're the only one that got nowhere to go. You know, all the Chinese here, they got somewhere to go. We can ship them all back to China. We got the Japanese, they got somewhere to go. We can ship them all back to Japan. We got the Koreans, we can ship them all back to Korea. The Canadians, we can ship them to Canada. And the Mexicans, we can ship them to Mexico. And what does that leave here on this country? Us. Because they got nowhere to ship us. That's the difference. So you erase the race lines, and now you normalize the lie. Work so hard to normalize these lies, and then you got the gullible people out there that follow these lies. And listen, I say to you, and I say to you as loud and as clear as possible as I can. Stop allowing these lies to lead you. Stop allowing yourself to be part of the mistruth, the deception, the misdirection. It's all going to come back and haunt you. This is BNN 247. Glad to be able to broadcast on this Sunday of 2026. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate everything you do for us. We're going to start this year off with a bang, and I appreciate you learning about the consequences of a military career, because it ain't all peaches and cream when you spent 20-some years on a military operation, and now you walk off the plantation and you ain't got a clue of how to be a civilian, because that's basically what happened to most of us that walked off the military base. And this ain't just started happening. This has been going on for 100 years, ever since people have been coming off the plantation, especially for Black people. So thank you so much for being here. And I will be back on Sunday with another episode of the Black News Network. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.